Hello everyone, David here again from Wave Trader with another weekly analysis on the majors and the dollar index. So right now I'm on the dollar index, and I hope that you guys watched the third week analysis I did, because everything I said there about the dollar index is happening just like I said it would. If you will look closely at this daily chart, I'm not going to really start from the monthly today because I believe that it is progressive, and I'll keep repeating myself that way. So watch the last video I did and you will catch up from there. So now, on the daily chart of the dollar index, last week, as you can see here, I showed by the use of these trend lines what I believed was going to happen, and you can see that it is happening just like I said. All right, we had positive divergence here, and I told you that whenever you have an incidence of positive divergence, usually it connotes a wave bottom situation happening in the near future, and you can see that that has happened here. First there was a wave bottom situation here, and then a much larger one here. And now this dotted line that I drew here is the 62% retracement of this rundown in price. So however, I put in the caveat that the possibility of the market pushing strongly to where this trend line is very possible, because you can see here that we had a good golden cross here on the MACD, and the angle and separation on the MACD line and the trigger line are very strong, and you can see that on the EMAs as well, we are just having the crossovers here as well. Okay, we had that here, and then we had the bounce here. So in for the next few days, actually I believe that the dollar index is going to see some bullish moves. So how does that reflect for the major currencies? Well, for the currencies that have the dollar as their counter currency, things like the euro, the GBP, the New Zealand, the Aussie, I believe that those ones you are going to be considering bearish positions for now. And for the ones that have the US dollar as their major currencies, like the USD CAD, USD CHF, USD JPY, you might want to consider bullish situations. However, do not ignore sound technical analysis, okay? Because even if we have a bullish trend going on, you can still get the opportunity to sell. So let's just be cognizant of that. So having said that, I'm going to analyze these pairs now, and mind you, I am going to start from the daily. Now that doesn't negate the fact that you have to do your analysis from the monthly. It's just because last week I already analyzed these pairs from the monthly down, so I see no reason to do so again this week. Like I said, please watch the previous video on the third week of January and you will understand. So on the daily chart, this is what we see, and I say here that this scenario is the market is going to push up to this region, okay, on the dollar index, or it might go as high as this trend line. So that is what we are looking at on the daily chart. Now I'll quickly go to the 4-hour chart and see what we see, and you can see here that my analysis was right on the money, because you can see here we have our first wave, second wave, third wave, fourth wave, okay, and then the start of the fifth wave. So we are on the final leg on this, ladies and gentlemen. So I believe that you will be looking for an occasion to go short in this region or in this region, okay, much better in this region. That way you know what you know. So what you are going to look for is something that looks something like this. You might have a positive divergence situation and then a wave top. So you cannot actually just have a wave top situation, but either way, just wait for a turnaround in this region if you are thinking of going short. For now, your bias is to go long on the dollar index, okay? So let's quickly go to the euro and see what we see. Now on the euro, this is what's happening on the 4-hour. I'm just going to go to the daily, and you can see here this is what is happening on the daily. So you are not thinking of buying right now, okay? The only time you are going to think of buying is when we have a golden crossover on the MACD going up, and we have a golden crossover on the EMAs, okay, and the valid wave bottom situation. So let's go down to the 4-hour and see. So for the 4-hour chart, this is what is happening right now, right? And because of this, of the way the MACD is setting up, I believe that we are going to get a positive divergence situation here. So what do I mean? I'm saying the market has the possibility of getting down to somewhere in this region, okay, thereabouts, and then pushing up like so, and possibly giving us a wave bottom situation like this, and then resuming the upward move. Of course, that's just conjecture, but I believe that something of this nature might happen. But however, just be aware that there will most likely be a positive divergence situation before you get a wave bottom somewhere in this region. Okay, it could happen here, it could happen in the middle here, it could happen just after the trend line, and it could happen exactly along the trend line. So for the euro, you are going to be watching this pair, okay, and then deciding for yourself if you want to take a short position when the markets open on Monday, or you want to wait for a wave bottom to take you into a bullish trade. Either way, just watch and wait. For the GBP USD, I will say the same thing. This is the 4-hour chart, so I'm just going to quickly run to the daily. And so this is what's going on the daily chart. Let me have a proper look here. So before you think of buying long, I will advise you waiting for a golden cross on the MACD on the daily chart, okay? So we are looking for something in this region, the 1.290 region, okay? Somewhere in that region. So for now, bias is short-term bearish, all right? So you are not thinking of buying just yet. You are going to have to wait until you get a valid wave bottom situation. You get a valid golden cross on the MACD. You get a valid golden cross on the golden cross on the EMA is going up, and then a golden cross on the MACD, okay, most likely. So for the major pairs, the GBP, the euro, you are in a watch and wait mode. Now let's have a look at the New Zealand. New Zealand is almost the same thing as the British pair right now. So same thing. Okay, watch and wait. Wait for MACD cross, golden cross, wait for EMA cross, and look for a wave bottom situation on the 4-hour, and then you should do just fine. Now we have here a positive divergence on the 4-hour chart, and I told you whenever you see a positive divergence, you are looking for a wave bottom. So how will you get into this trade? You will get into this trade if this rundown in price does not exceed this level here. So once it doesn't exceed this level here, then you will now get a valid wave bottom situation, which will make here the number 1 point, this place the number 2, and then the number 3 will be in this region. Now we can actually determine that by doing this, and let's see what we see. So you can see that the market is past the 62%, and that tells you that it's going toward the 79% level. Let me just mark that up properly. So let's see, for that I'm going to have to use the APAC and not the normal Fibonacci retracement levels. All right, so you see it's heading towards the 79. So we are looking for an opportunity for the market to turn around somewhere in this region, okay, and you can see that it coincides with this area of support here. So watch out for the 79% region on the New Zealand, ladies and gentlemen, and if it does give you a wave bottom situation there, then you are thinking of a swing trade, but you have to wait for the EMAs to give you a golden cross, okay, and then you have a beautiful wave bottom situation that will give you beautiful trades. So from the 79% region to even the first target, you are looking at about 113 pips. So it is worth waiting for. However, you can actually go lower to the 1-hour chart and wait there as well. All right. On the 1-hour chart, you will see your wave bottom that much quicker, and you can see that it's beginning to look like it wants to form a positive divergence here. So these little things are crucial for you to make good entry decisions into the markets. Okay, another example of the positive divergence and the wave bottom situation is here, and you can see that we had a positive divergence situation here, and what happened was that the market gave us a wave bottom situation, and you can see the first wave here, second wave, third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave. So this thing works like clockwork. Okay, all you have to do is recognize it. So the New Zealand is a must watch for you if you are thinking of a good trade this week. All right, let's have a quick look at the Aussie. So I will say the same thing, though. For the Aussie, I think that the possibility of the market pushing down to the, you can see that the market just bounced off of the 62% on the Fibonacci levels on the daily chart. So it might turn around in this region and it could go lower. I would rather it went as low as this trend line here, giving me a positive divergence situation, than giving me a wave bottom. Okay, so for the Aussie, what I'm going to wait for is a valid golden cross on the MACD. All right, once I get a golden cross on the MACD, I will look for an entry signal to go long here. All right, so there's not much to really see here. From where the market is currently to the trend line is just 39 pips, so you don't have to try to get into a short position. Okay, there's no point in that. Just wait. You can wait on the 4 hour, and once you begin to see something like this, um, you have to consider the possibility of a positive divergence situation forming. So that means that we are expecting the market to get as low as this trend line, okay, somewhere in this region or just before. But however way it comes, just know that you are looking for a wave bottom situation on the 4 hour chart or on the daily chart. So for the Aussie, I would for me, I think I'll prefer to wait for my wave bottom situation on the daily chart, okay, just to be very sure. Now let's go on to the USD card. So for the USD card, this is what's going on right now. I'm just going to go to the daily chart and see. So since this is more or less aping what the dollar index is doing, you are going to have to consider the possibility that there's still a little bit of upward momentum left. You can see here that we have pushed up to the 62% region and the market has retraced somewhat. So a little bit of caution is advisable. Okay, so if the market wants to push further up, we are going to have to watch and wait. All right, but it's just possible that this upward momentum is over. All right, but we will watch and wait. Last week I talked about the fact that the market may have the potential to push right up to this region, and there's still that possibility. So once we get a golden cross, we already have a golden cross on the MACD here. So once we get a golden cross on the EMAs, just like we had here, then we have that possibility of the market pushing up a little bit further. So for the USD card, I'm going to watch and wait. All right, because the upward momentum on the dollar index too, you can see that there's not much steam left. So you are going to have to be careful about this. All right. Let's go to the USD CHF and see what we see. So for the USD CHF, you can see on the daily, on the 4 hour chart, you see we have an incidence of positive divergence here. This is a beautiful positive divergence pattern. All right, but if it has the ability to go further, it's something that you have to consider, because I'm going to go to the daily chart now. So I think there's still a little bit of steam here, okay, for this market to push up, but you have to wait for a valid signal. Okay, you have to wait for a valid signal. We have what looks like positive divergence happening here, but I believe that there's going to be a little bit of a fluctuation in this region before we have a push to the upside. So for the USD CHF, you have to watch and wait for the proper signs. So we have a positive divergence here. So what we are looking for now is for the market to push down and give us a beautiful wave bottom situation, and then we can consider taking a short trade. Mind you, it's going to be a trade you have to watch. Okay, be quick to lock in profits, because honestly, I can't tell you how far this will go. All right, because this is the trend line, and you can see that it could easily get stopped in this region before resuming the downward move. So you are going to have to watch that. Now let's go to the USDJPY and see what we see. For the USDJPY, I'm just going to go to the daily chart here. This is what's been going on currently, and where the market is currently, if we were to take our Fibonacci retracement from here, you will see that we've gone beyond the 62%, though the market respected that, but it's pushing strongly towards the 79% now. So for this, I'm going to make a concession and go to the weekly chart and see. And it looks here like we have a little bit of steam here. Okay, the market may actually push to this 79% region. So for the USDCHF, we are going to be cautiously bullish. All right, but you can see that it's tapering out. Okay, it's not very strong. It's not giving you that oomph that you are looking for when you are looking at a trending market. So and besides, we have what looks like negative divergence beginning to happen here. So respectfully speaking, I would not take this trade to the upside. I would rather watch and wait, okay, and see what is going to happen. So for the USDJPY, it's a watch and wait game as well. Now, these are the major currency pairs. So for me, I believe that I'll just have a quick look here. The Euro USD bears watching. The GBP is okay. The New Zealand, I think, is my priority for this week. All right. And the Aussie may take a few days, but if you are willing to wait, it's quite stable in its movement. So that one is good. But the USD card, USDCHF, I will watch and wait. Now I'm going to throw in a bonus again this week. I want you to look at this chart. This is the New Zealand CHF, or the Swedish franc. So I'm just going to analyze this for you from the monthly, and then you can decide for yourself if you want to consider this for this week. So on the monthly chart, this is what's been going on. We've been in a downtrend for the longest time. So we had a retracement up here, which pushed the market to this region. And if we were to take, let's see what will happen if we take our Fibonacci retracement from here to this point, the lowest point where the market bounced up, and you can see where we are. Not quite at the 62, but I believe that this is the 50% region, okay, and which is the normal place for the market to actually retrace 50-55% on the monthly chart. So on the monthly chart, that is what's happening. So you can see that the market seems to be resuming the downward move, okay, and we have what looks like railroad tracks here. All right, the green and the red combined making railroad tracks. So we are going to go lower and see what we see. So going to the weekly chart, you can see what's happening right here. Now, this could just be a dip, okay, meaning that the market could actually reverse from this dotted line and continue the upward move. But because this is a weekly, the weekly time frame, we still have the opportunity to play around in this region, okay. So we are just going to look at the fact that we are in a bearish situation right now. Now let's go to the daily and see what we see. So for the daily, this is what's happening. All right, we had an incidence of positive divergence here that pushed the market up, and like I said, the market could very easily turn around from this region, and this dotted line is actually the I think I'm just going to show you that it's the retracement of the upward move. So I analyzed this some time back, and I'm just going to take it from here. So you can see that is where the 62% is. All right, and how far is that? How many pips are we looking at here? We're looking at about 68 pips. So it's not bad for a day trade. So I'm throwing this out there for those of you who might be interested. So let's go to the 4-hour chart and see what we see. So on the 4-hour chart, this is what we see. All right, so you have the opportunity to take this trade to the downside this new week. Now, what do you need to see? Or I'm just going to go lower to the 1-hour chart, and then we can analyze this chart properly. So On the 1 hour chart, we have our wave top situation happening here. All right, we had 1, 2, 3. We had a wave top situation. Okay, we had another wave top situation here. 1, 2, 3. So right now the market seems to be in a downtrend. Remember, we analyzed it from the weekly and we determined that we have the possibility of the market pushing down to this region, good for um, between 60 to 70 pips. Okay, so this is just an intraday trade for you to consider in the new week, Monday, Tuesday. So how are you going to get into this trade? Well, if we go back to the 4 hour chart, you can see that the MACD hasn't quite given us a golden cross yet, but it's beginning to look like it wants to turn. So I submit to you that you have to wait for a golden cross, a dead cross on the MACD on the 4 hour. So the only way you can do that is either wait on the 4 hour or wait on the 1 hour chart. So what I'm looking at here is, I'm just going to go lower to the 15-minute chart. Okay, so on the 15-minute chart, what you are waiting for now is a bounce. Okay, you can see that we're obviously in a downtrend right here, but you can also see that we're at a level of support. So come when the markets open, you are looking for a bounce. All right, so let's just magnify this a bit and take a retracement of this value from here to this point. Okay, and tentatively put a dotted line here and wait. So once the markets resume, you might want to wait for an opportunity for the market to retrace to this region, the 0.6400 region. Okay, so once the market retraces to that, bounces back up to that point and turns around, then that gives you a potential entry trigger to go short. So if I can remember, I'm going to try and take this trade, and I'll make a video and let you know how it turns out. So that's the bonus I'm giving you guys for the week. So I hope that this video was instructional, and as always, please rewatch these videos over and over so that you begin to get the basics into your minds and it becomes part and parcel of you. This is how you are going to become progressive and profitable traders in the year 2020. So thank you very much, everyone, and happy trading and happy new week as well.